me just say this. I'm sorry. The people that I represent can't afford a plane ticket. So waiting in line for a delayed plane is not going to get them pissed. What's getting the people that I know who are upset are the people that are literally not being able to eat. To say that you're not holding Medicaid hostage when you know that Democrats are trying to negotiate to get health care back on the table.
That's the Affordable Care Act subsidy,
right?
Which is a totally different.
Right, but you know Democrats don't have leverage, so let's not play games. This is their only leverage that they have.
They said this is the only leverage they have, which is why they shut the government.
That's exactly it.
We're correct. They shut the government.
All right, everyone, here we go. Think about this for a moment. The government isn't just slowing down, it's completely stuck. A Republican lawmaker and a former Bernie Sanders aide are clashing over budget negotiations, turning routine politics into a full-blown standoff. This heated exchange is exposing the dark side of political posturing and power plays, while the people who truly suffer are those relying on programs like Medicaid and SNAP.
And I just want to speak for those who are really being affected. We say the numbers there, 22 million, but I want to speak on behalf of Clifford Johnson in LA, who is disabled. He is paralyzed. And you know what he does for a living? Drive Uber with sticks. So this is somebody who does everything that they possibly can with no legs to still work, to still contribute to society, who's getting screwed on the Medicaid side, and also now being screwed on the food stamp side. So no matter what he does, this particular administration that is in charge now is screwing him either way. There is this stereotype that those who are on SNAP and those who are on these benefits are people who are lazy, people who are not contributing. So that $100 and $150 that he gets every month may not make a difference to those who are sitting at the tables in Congress, but it absolutely makes a difference to him. So what would you say to him, to the Republicans who are holding Medicaid hostage for food stamps? Should he now say, well, now I can't get my diabetes, all of the complications with being paralyzed, or starve? What would you say to him? What should his choice be?
Well, Republicans are not holding Medicaid hostage, number one. Number two, we protected Medicaid for those who are disabled to make sure that they are not losing benefits to those that are here illegally, taking benefits away from the very people who rely on this program, number one. Number two, again, we passed, Republicans in the House, passed a clean CR to fund SNAP, to fund WIC over a month ago. Democrats in the Senate have voted 14 times to keep the government shut down, to not fund WIC, to not fund SNAP. So this is not a function of Republicans playing politics. I don't care who the president is or what party is in power. I have voted every single time to keep the government funded and open. During Joe Biden's presidency, I voted 8 times to keep the government funded. Kevin McCarthy lost his job as Speaker of the House in large measure because he put a clean CR.
That just adds to my frustration, doesn't it? If you're tired of the unstable administration and want regular updates on what's really going on, I can assure you that you won't miss a beat by subscribing to the channel. Let's begin together. Let's now take a closer look at the political theater that has everyone buzzing. This government shutdown seems to be centered around one ugly accusation. Democrats are deliberately controlling American lives by using Medicaid and SNAP as negotiating tools. This is not only a political dispute, the lives of people are in danger. Republicans are directly criticizing Democrats for what they see as hostage-taking tactics, holding benefits hostage to further their agenda.
So we've never allowed policy, and this is Chuck Schumer saying this. This is Hakeem Jeffries saying this. This is Nancy Pelosi saying this. We've never allowed policy to be extracted at the barrel of a gun by using a shutdown to hold the American people hostage. There's a very simple way to address all these issues. And by the way, I'm a lead co-sponsor on a bill to extend the ACA subsidy by a year. I went and asked Hakeem Jeffries 3 weeks ago, sign on to the bill. If this is what you're saying is the issue, let's get it done, sign on to the bill and join me. He said no, because it really was never about that. So if we want to address health care in America, let's do it. But you don't do it in the shutdown.
We're talking about children who need proper meals, seniors who can't afford their medicine, and people with disabilities who rely on Medicaid to survive. Isn't it unsettling that politicians treat real human lives like pieces in a political chess game? By now, tensions are running high. In a recent CNN debate, a Republican representative defended his party's position, claiming that Democrats are blocking every attempt to properly fund these vital programs. Picture leaders arguing over the nation's priorities as if deciding what's for dinner. The congressman insisted that Democrats refuse to separate key issues, putting government paychecks, healthcare coverage, and even military funding at risk. What's more, he argued that his party has already approved several clean funding measures, while Democrats continue to push for higher spending without making any meaningful cuts.
Because you keep saying over and over, it's never, they always signed on. Let me be clear. I'm an independent. I'm not a Democrat. I told Democrats they should have did the same thing that you're doing to them. They should have shut it all down, broke it all down. So I appreciate the or else, that the Republicans are doing if that is the agenda that you're pushing. So I just want to be clear about that. When you say they've always signed on, they should have stopped signing on a long time ago when Sarah was following us with the George Floyd matter. They should have shut it down a long time ago when we were looking to expand the Supreme Court. So I am all for, pushing the agenda and using what you can as leverage, and Republicans do that best. So now be confused why Democrats are doing that is confusing to me.
In my conference last Congress that wanted to shut the government down over Joe Biden's open border policy. I and others said no, not because I disagreed with them on the substance of the issue, but because shutting down the government is not going to solve the problem. And in fact, what it's doing, the very people that you're talking about that are not going to get food assistance, that's what it does. It creates this tit for tat game where each side uses the American people as a hostage in a ridiculous negotiation. We can easily pass the clean CR, open the government up, pass an ACA subsidy extension. I don't want to see people's health care premiums go up. But the fact is that this subsidy, by the way, the Democrats passed to expire at the end of this year. If they could have done a permanent extension while Joe Biden was president, they would have done that.
But your argument is, let's just pass it and let's negotiate later. That's not how it works.
Well, then you will see this happen every single time. If people want to use a government shutdown, you will see this happen in perpetuity every year.
Reports revealing that some Democrats have admitted to prioritizing power over policy make this situation even more disturbing, especially as others use the government shutdown as a strategic ploy. It's unsettling to think that control might outweigh compassion, yet Democrats argue that a hardline Republican faction is to blame for refusing to compromise until their demands are met. They claim they're standing firm to protect vulnerable Americans and safeguard programs like Medicaid and the Affordable Care Act, warning that giving in could endanger healthcare access for millions. Meanwhile, ordinary people such as Clifford Johnson, a disabled Uber driver who depends on Medicaid, are left struggling without support as the standoff drags on. Both sides accuse each other of playing politics with real lives. Democrats are charged with raising the stakes to force more spending, while Republicans frame themselves as guardians of fiscal responsibility. But as politicians battle over budgets and ideology, families worry about paying their bills, veterans wait for their checks, and the nation watches as a policy dispute turns into a personal crisis for countless citizens. So, what should the government's true duty be in moments like this? Share your thoughts below, and let's try to find some understanding and maybe even hope amid the gridlock.